Welcome back to Woman Enough Marriage. My name is Wumi Ajayi. It's good to be back. I really do hope that you've had a good start to 2023. I want to start a series today that I've titled Team We. Team We. And it's my attempt to try and explore the different ways in which as couples we can work together as a team. We can recognize, see ourselves as a team, and work together as a team to achieve God's purpose for our lives. God's intention for the married relationship is far more than most of us understand, and me inclusive. And as a result, sometimes we can handle our relationships with levity, and like they say, abuse is inevitable where the purpose of a thing is not known. And I like to say that it's not only abuse that is inevitable, underutilization is also inevitable, when the purpose of a thing is not known. My daughter was horrified when she realized that I didn't know, I didn't understand some of the functions of the camera on my phone. And so I was underutilizing my camera because I did not understand all the functions of it. And so it is with marriage. If we don't understand God's intention and God's purposes for us in marriage, we will not enjoy the maximum benefit that is intended in it for us. So I've titled today's topic, today's video, as We've Got the Power. There is so much power that we wield as married couples that is inherent in our married relationship. And without the right knowledge, like I said, and the understanding, we will be living below God's plan for us, and we will not be able to maximize this power. So let's look at some of the powers. There are two that I'm actually going to talk about. So I want to start by looking at the power of agreement. And I'm starting with this because I think it is the most fought by the devil and the most underutilized power that we have as married couples. You wonder why you and your spouse constantly have misunderstandings. You wonder why you always have disagreements. It's because if without the disagreements and without the misunderstandings and things that can cause disunity, then you will be united. And if we remember the story of the Tower of Babel, when a people are united, there is nothing that becomes impossible for them to do. And so the enemy will fight your unity, will fight your agreement as a couple. Matthew 18:19-20 says, "Again, truly I tell you that if two of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where two or three gather in my name, there I am with them." Now, this is talking about the power of agreement in prayer, which is very, very important. But we cannot have agreement in prayer, as powerful as that is, if we don't agree in other areas of our lives. And so, disagreement and disunity can be the major killer of purpose in our marriage. God's intention is that the two will become one. Nothing spells unity, nothing spells agreement more than that, because marriage is the closest relationship that we can have with any other human. And sometimes we often justify the disagreements and disunity by different things, commonly with irreconcilable differences and many other things. But our differences, if better managed, they're actually meant to enrich our lives and not break us apart. And the thing with being able to justify some of these things is, once you're able to justify the reason why you cannot agree with your spouse, or the reason why there's constant disagreement and disunity, then we devolve ourselves of responsibility. And it is both our responsibility as married couples to ensure that there's agreement, there's unity, and there's peace in our home. When we allow disunity to fester, it affects other areas of our lives. Children will learn to play you against each other because they know that you don't agree. You can't discipline them as a couple, as one. It will affect other, external relationships as well. Your in-laws may take advantage of you because they know you're not united. For example, if you want to give somebody a gift, if you're not united, you might end up giving them gifts separately, which might be more than you would have given if you've agreed as a couple to give it to them. And so you lose out of your resources, and we can start to become, see each other as a competition to beat, instead of seeing each other as members of the same team. When we live as two and not as one in unity, we give room not only for the devil, but we open the door for other vices as well. We bring confusion into the home. There's anger, there's envy, there's all sorts of other vices that can come in. So it's important that not only agreement in prayer, and that is really, really powerful, because it means that we can agree on our issues. We can together as a couple hold our hands and bring our issues to God and trust that according to the promise, He will answer us. It's also important that we try and foster unity and foster agreement. You can make up your minds that, unless you agree on an issue, or if you're going to make a major decision, make sure that you agree before you proceed. Make your spouse's agreement on small and big issues. Make it important to you. The other power that I want to talk about is power of synergy. But of course, we cannot achieve synergy without agreement. Synergy is defined as the combined power of a group of things when they are working together that is greater than the total power achieved by each working separately. So, synergy in marriage means that a husband and wife can accomplish more together than they could accomplish separately. And so that is one of the power that if we harness in our marriage, we can actually achieve a lot. Good synergy can make a lot of difference to our marriage. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 from verse 12 says, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. We will talk about the threefold cord in another video. But in marriage, looking at these verses, two are obviously better than one. There is power in number. You should not be better off as a single person than you were married. Because the idea of God for marriage is that when you two come together, you become better, you achieve more, you have a good reward, a better reward. In synergy, you have more for your toil, not just physically, emotionally, psychologically, economically, in every area of our lives. Marriage is meant to make us better. And that is why the devil fights this so much. Because as long as there's disagreement, as long as there's disunity, you cannot combine your efforts together. There cannot be good synergy. You cannot achieve more. You cannot fulfill, the purpose that God wants you to fulfill. And that's why the enemy will fight unity in your relationship. And that's why we need to fight back as well. Two are better than one. It does not make physical, spiritual, economic, emotional, psychological sense, or however sense you want to look at it. For people in marriage, each person in marriage, to be doing their own thing. We did that when we were single. Now we are married. We are meant to be joining our hands together, our efforts together, because two are meant to be better than one. It says, woe to him who is alone when he falls and he has not another to lift him up. In marriage, that's what we're meant to be doing for each other. Apart from our physical effort, combining our physical effort. An example is division of labor in the house. You do all the chores together. It's faster than when one person does it. Another example is the fact that if the two of you work and you bring resources, your combined resources is better than when one person is working. And there's also the emotional support. It says, if they fall, you lift up your fellow. You were meant to encourage one another, support one another, lift each other up. If two lie together, they keep warm. I mean, the physical warmth is part of it. The enjoyment of each other's company is it also brings us warmth. The love that we share is part of the warmth that we share. It also says, though a man might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. So two are actually in so many ways better than one. God can use two people to accomplish great things for his purposes. And so my charge to us as I conclude is that we do everything. If this year, if all you're gonna, make up your mind to do is to say, this year, I'm gonna make sure that there's agreement between me and my spouse. I'm gonna make every effort to make sure that we're in agreement on issues, that we deal with our misunderstandings and disagreements quickly, that we don't allow disunity to fester, that we take advantage of, the promise to agree on issues and pray on issues. If that's all we want to do, we'll see the transformation in our marriages. Ephesians 4:2-3 says, be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. It's interesting that they're starting with that. And then verse 3 says, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Bearing with one another in love is very, very important, because that's the only way. That's the way of love. If you look at my last video, the way of love in dealing with misunderstandings, in dealing with offenses, because if we don't do that, if we don't bear with one another in love, if you're not patient, if you're not humble, it says completely humble and patient. That's what we need for us to be able to make sure that we deal with misunderstandings, we deal with offenses, we deal with disagreements, and we keep the bond of unity. And then it goes on to say, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Make every effort. Does not suggest that it is easy, but it is doable. Make every effort to keep, to guard, to watch over the unity in your relationship. Make up your mind to ensure that there is unity, and peace in your relationship. What that will mean for every relationship is different. But as individuals in our married relationships, it's both of our responsibility to maintain unity. Sometimes it might mean issues that we've talked about over and over again, yes, we still have to talk about them. Sometimes it might mean that we forbear and we forgo, we forgive and forget and we let go. Sometimes it just means overlooking offenses. Sometimes for some it means growing up, such that the things that cause misunderstanding and the things that cause, disagreements in your relationship in the past are no longer affecting you anymore, because you have grown above them. But it will mean many different things for many couples and many relationships. And the good thing is, if both parties, the husband and the wife, are making up their minds to put every effort to keep unity and the bond of peace in their relationship, then of course that married relationship will enjoy peace, will enjoy unity, and then we'll be able to maximize the power of agreement and the power of synergy. Thank you so much. I'll be stopping here. Do remember, like I always say, marriage is to be enjoyed, not to be endured. Bye.